Welcome to the Music Retail Show. Having conversations about the musical instrument industry to take you and your business farther.
The Music Retail Show.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Music Retail Show. Richard and I got to sit down with Fred Poole, the General Manager of Product Developments for Peavey Electronics at the Summer NAMM show. And man, we had a great conversation talking about why Peavey is still innovative and moving forward and how creative of a company they are. I'm telling you what, you'll enjoy this episode. Take a listen and we'll see you on the other side.
Does half the cost and double the value sound good to you? What about made in the USA? Franklin Strap is 100% American made, and you get double the quality for every dollar you spend. Call us today, 615-791-7057, and get in the strap business. Franklin Strap, the soft strap.
All right, hey, we're back for another episode here at the Summer NAMM show 2019.
Yep.
And Richard, we actually have kind of a VIP person.
I think we have one of the smartest guys.
One of the smartest.
Oh boy,
no,
here we
I'm
go.
being serious.
Okay.
This ain't BS. A lot of times I'm blowing BS up someone's skirt, and I'll joke around and tell it. Fred is a smart guy.
Fred Poole.
Fred Poole from Peavey. Fred, thank you for being here.
Happy to be here.
We're going to do an interview with him, or a podcast, or what do you want to call it. But I'm not going to ask him every question, because I want him to either Skype or come into our studio and do another one, because he's got a wealth of knowledge.
Well, Fred, that sounds like a huge compliment right
That's
there.
a heck of an intro.
I'm being serious.
I gotta live up
I'm
to
being
it.
serious. So,
Well,
That's
hey,
great.
Fred,
Appreciate
welcome.
it. Well, thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, how's the show going for you?
Fantastic. I love being here. It's an opportunity. We're in our box all day long,
Yeah.
working on ideas and things.
Yeah.
And getting out and talking to the people and showing them what we've done and why we've done what we've done.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
So you've had a chance to walk around a little bit?
Yeah, I'll always come to these shows to check out what the competition's doing.
Of
that's
course.
just as important as sitting
Yeah,
there selling
yeah.
what we've got, because it's a lot of great ideas in the industry, and they don't all come from us. So you can take ideas that somebody else says, hey, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
How can we put our spin on it? That's what everybody here does.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. And I love seeing new products from our competitors, because
Yeah.
that motivates me.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about your job description. You've got a well-deserved promotion lately, so let's talk about what your new title is, or what that role looks like.
Well, I'm in charge of product development for the Peavey brand, and that is it's a broad brand.
Yes.
We do everything from picks, microphone cables, instrument cables, all the way up to very professional PA systems. So it's a lot, but we love this industry. We love the people that are in it, and I'm really just happy to be doing what I'm doing. It's truly a blessing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Now, in the past, you've had a couple other hats, so this is kind of a departure, because you get to focus on product development. That's got to be a breath of fresh air.
Oh, it is. I mean, I grew up in the music retail industry, sweeping the floors, cleaning the toilets in an MI store, because we all want to be rock stars, right?
Sure,
That's where
absolutely,
it starts.
man.
Yeah, that's where it starts, and you have to have a day job to support your music habit.
absolutely.
I can get cheap gear if I work for the music store.
Absolutely.
And one thing led to another. But yeah, I've had a lot of sales roles. I've done some customer service roles. I mean, we've done some quality control roles at Peavey. So just about every hat, I've worn a little of it at some point.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy to be doing product development again, because that's what I'm passionate about. And it's exciting.
Now, you guys aren't introducing anything new here. Are you guys kind of looking to introduce new stuff for the Winter NAMM show, or what's the purpose of the summer show?
We do have a couple new pieces that
Okay.
Nashville hasn't seen over here. We've got some new Trace Elliott combo amps that are fantastic. We're really excited about, and we've got a new line of bass amplifiers we're pushing right now on the Peavey side.
Okay.
A new sound reinforcement product. It's a column array, and we're excited about that. But Winter show, we should have a bunch of new stuff. And I'm excited to show it to the world, but one thing we're going to try to be cautious of is we don't want to show stuff too early. I want to get it ready in the box, ready to go. Yeah.
Well, and we talked briefly yesterday about that's been an issue in the industry for several years. They introduce something in January, but it's not ready to ship until the fall or even the early part of the next year.
Oh, yeah. And we're all excited about showing
Absolutely.
our products, from Hartley on down. And I got to tell you, it's been my privilege to work for Hartley Peavey, and he comes into work still every single day. He's involved in the company. After 54 years of doing this, he's still passionate about what he does. It's amazing, and we get excited.
Yeah.
So when we got something new toy that we're dying to show the world, sometimes we kind of say, well, the best case scenario, we might have this ready by the end of the month. It never happens that way.
Yeah.
So we want to be cautious about that because we want to capture the excitement in the moment when we show something, and sometimes we get a little ahead of the game. But
well, I'll tell you what. Even at the Winter NAMM show, looking at your booth when we were there that night, man, your guitars look great. I love the guitars, the whole line that you guys have got going on. So, have you been finding a lot of resurgence and a lot of uptick in a lot of your guitar sales?
We're a passionate company, and guitar is part of that. We've got some designs in the past that are just legacy designs. They belong to Peavey. They're our thing, and I think you'll see some interesting things in the future when it comes to some of the things that people would recognize as Peavey.
Yeah,
I'll just say that.
All right.
Can't let too much out there.
Yeah. Now, you guys, there's been rumblings of different changes with different lines in what you guys are doing. Are you guys getting rid of any product or changing anything, or what?
Well, we're looking for different ways to manufacture things in a better way. So we are constantly doing that. Sometimes, as much as we would like to make things in Meridian, Mississippi, sometimes that's difficult. There's been a lot of changes in our industry over the years, and some movement overseas, manufacturing, and we do a lot of that as well. But we are always focused on a better way to do things at Peavey, and I think that's what we're doing right now with a few lines and products. So there may be interruptions of supply on certain lines until we get it figured out. And what we want to do, most importantly, is provide a good customer experience, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So if somebody places an order with me that I'm not able to deliver in a reasonable amount of time, I'm not doing that customer a favor.
Sure.
Really.
Yeah.
So our focus right now is to get our core group of products in a manner that we can deliver on our promises timely. So there's going to be some areas where we're going to do some things differently, but it's an exciting process, and we're going to get that done. I think you're going to see a lot a great things in the coming year from Peavey.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, are you guys still making stuff in America, or is it all imports?
No, we make stuff in the States wherever we can. So a lot of our Media Matrix products are made in the United States.
Okay.
I mean, for government contracts, that stuff is important. You guys may or may not be familiar, but Peavey is one of the largest manufacturers of pro audio installation equipment in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the Atlanta Airport, the London Heathrow Airport, the International Airport in Beijing, the brand new Terminal 3 is all Media Matrix. Amusement parks all over the world.
Yeah.
Our Peavey audio.
Okay.
It's behind the scenes.
Well, I never thought about that.
No, it's a different part of our business that people aren't generally aware of.
Yeah.
But it's a big part of what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know for years that Peavey was just a great American brand that was priced right and was bulletproof.
Yeah.
And I know I was kind of bummed out, for a lack of a better word, when a lot of people started going to other countries to have things made, because I was really like, wow, and I almost felt like it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair to you guys, because you guys were like the staple company to do things the American way.
Yeah.
And how has that affected
Well,
things?
I got to tell you, nobody wants to make products in the United States more than we do. We always have. In fact, we were the last company to go to China, probably way too late.
Yeah.
And we were hanging on. Well, all of our dealers were buying products that was produced in China at a significant price advantage.
Yeah.
And there was just really no way that we could continue to do that and survive as a business. And the most important thing is, we're a family-owned American company.
Yeah.
There are very few businesses in this hall right now that can say they've been a family-owned American company for 54 years.
Yeah.
A
It's
lot of the
amazing.
bigger companies that we compete against are Japanese companies. They're, companies that have their headquarters in Germany and their business in some island in the Philippines. It's for various tax purposes and that sort of thing. Very hard to compete against, but we're proud to say our corporate headquarters is in the United States. Our people are in the United States, and we provide jobs for a good number of people right here, and all goes back into the community. Really, we're happy to be doing it here.
Yeah, it's important. It's important that Made in USA. I think that means a lot to people even today.
And we do it wherever we can, but people have to be mindful. If they are serious about Made in the USA, they got to put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah,
you're right.
They've got to buy products.
That's a big deal.
Because what generally happens is I'll have a lot of dealers or people that say, hey, why don't you just make everything back in the United States? And I say, well, how much more are you willing to pay for that same product made in the USA? And the answer is always, I'll pay more, but at the end of the day, you walk in their store and they've got a bunch of product that's made overseas, and they want you to make the same product at the same price here. And in many cases, that's not practical. Now, what's going on now with the current tariff situation is interesting. But in my opinion, it's 10 years too late. But we could also talk about that too. I think it's going to have an effect, but the effect is more than likely people moving from, say, China to Indonesia or Vietnam, and probably not back here.
And we're already seeing that with guitar manufacturers, where they're moving factories.
Right, and there is an opportunity to move that stuff back here, but it's not like you can wave a magic wand and all of a sudden buy a whole bunch of SMT machines and be doing electronics in the United States overnight. That is a very long process. Just to get the manufacturing facilities up and running and multi-million-dollar investment to do so, and then transition product lines back over here. It's not something you can snap your fingers and say, tomorrow we're making everything here. It just doesn't. It's not like that.
So what is your process now that most of the stuff is overseas? Do you guys just do a lot of quality control over here, or you bring it in and...
Well, we do that's a great point, because one of the differences between a company like Peavey and anybody else that would bring something in from China is it's got Hartley Peavey's name on it, and there is a Hartley Peavey. So when we get a new product line in, we do 100% AQL on every order. That means we open up every single box and we inspect it. Now, what a customer may find is they say, what's this extra tape on the box? Well, we put an inspected in the United States sticker in the box so that hopefully they know what's going on. But we open it up, we check it, we make sure it's built by our partners, the right way, to our standards,
the
every
right
time.
parts.
Yeah, the right part. Oh, well, we go through that in the design phase. Because one of the things that you have to be careful. Peavey's a different kind of company because we make everything unique, soup to nuts. So, give you for instance, all of our bass amplifiers that we make have our own power modules in it. That's very different, because if you walk around the NAMM show here and you open up bass amps made by our competitors, you'll see power modules that are off the shelf. There's these companies that make power modules these days that you can just go buy out, I want a 200 watt power amp, and you throw it in a bass amp. Well, a power amp for a bass amp has very different requirements than a power amp for a PA. So what we do is we make sure that when we're building the preamp, the power amp, and the power supply, it's designed for that purpose, that bass amplifier. And so when you're making everything unique like that, components are very, very important. So we have what we call a do not substitute list on every single product that we make. Any CM that makes our products, or whoever's making it, has to go through these lists, and they cannot substitute parts. And we verify it and check it when they come in.
That's incredible.
That puts you a notch above.
I've never even thought about that. So even though we're not making a lot of the stuff here in America, which you admitted you wish you guys could still do that, but with economic change and everybody going overseas more, it's kind of forced you guys to do that. But you are quality controlling everything coming in, inspecting it, making sure it's of the highest quality.
Absolutely. And that, what else do we have? I mean, at the end of the day, what a company has is integrity, brand, and hopefully a better product. You know, our philosophy at Peavey Electronics is to make sure that when we come out with a new product, we know we are going to kick our competitors' ass, and I mean that in the nicest way. Because we do.
That's a very nice way to say that.
We like to do our homework.
He was smiling when he said that.
I mean, one of the great things about my job is I get to buy the competitor's stuff. New something cool comes out, I buy it, I bring it in, I learn it, I take it apart, I see what's good, what's bad, what they've done smart, and then I say, okay, what are we going to do better? What's the next round? And that's great for consumers too, because
that competition's good.
They win. They win
eventually, because we're always coming out with better and better products, more competitive prices. I mean, right now you can buy a Peavey bass with active electronics, 18 volt, brand new with a quilt flame top on it for $449.
Wow.
When I was a kid, a bass like that would have cost $1,000 at least, and I didn't have the money back then. So we're getting better and better products, better prices. Hopefully what that means is we're going to have more and more musicians with better tools to be inspired by to create more music. Because that's what Peavey's all about.
Well, the quality of product in a lot of areas, like what you're talking about today, is much better than it was 20 years ago.
Even our own products are. You know, we have this legacy of reliability at Peavey because we build stuff that you can throw off the back of a bus, and we continue to do that.
CS800.
Absolutely. But there's been times. See, Peavey's always a market leader, and we're not afraid to do something different. But at times that's an expensive lesson.
Yes.
There's some power amps and some things that we've done in the past that we wish we wouldn't have done that. But you know what? When you're doing it for 54 years, you know what not to do.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We have opened up some of our competitors' copies of our products, and we're looking at them like, oh, we've done that before. That's not a good idea. And, but we're nice enough not to tell them.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So,
oh, that's funny.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Peavey basses have always had a great reputation. So even just in with Richard and I do, man, I'm telling you what, Peavey basses have people love them.
Yeah,
People
well,
love
I'm a
'em.
bass player, so I'm very passionate about. It's a small group of people. Let's face it, you're not going to get rich making bass amps.
Yeah.
But we're passionate about it. That's a market we want to be in. And our new Elf little 2.6 pound Trace Elliott combo that it's our
Now, what
best
is
selling
it?
product. Oh, we got a little bass amp that literally can stick in the back of your pocket. It's 2.6 pounds, 200 watts RMS.
Really?
Yeah, not the BS ratings that some of these people are. I mean, that's a whole other thing we need to talk about. Is these power ratings have gone through are insane. There's a company out there saying they have a plastic PA box that's got 2,000 watts in it. And that is just a blatant BS. It's not true, and I can't see how anybody's getting away with that kind of stuff these days.
Yeah.
Anyway, get back to the Trace Elliott. I get passionate about this stuff, so I can tend to ramble. But we're talking about a 200 watt bass amp that can fit in your pocket.
Wow.
And by the way, the only way we were able to accomplish that is by designing every part of that chain in that amp. We buy the supply, the power amplifier, every component in it is selected and designed by us.
What's the retail on that?
$299.
$299.
Man, I got to go check that out. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool because even if you have a big giant rig, right? You want a backup rig, throw in your gig bag. Always have it with you. Have it home at practice. It's lightweight. You know what? I'm getting old. I'll face it. I used to have a big giant Peavey rig, about 215s and 212s, and a 24 space rack.
Gosh.
Oh yeah, because I thought it was cool. Being a rock star, the bigger your rig is, the better off you are.
Yeah.
But these days, I don't want to lug that stuff around.
No.
Who does?
No.
I want the lightest thing that'll do the job and sound like a bass amp.
Absolutely.
A lot of stages don't even have amps anymore. That's why we build these new transit preamp pedals that if you're using in-ear monitors, you don't even need an amp. Just goes direct into the PA system. You can play and listen to the bass in your in-ears. Fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
We're changing things for the modern age.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So what's some of the other new product that you have going on?
Well, column arrays. So we've got some new products out that everything's designed to be high power, portable, and crystal clean clarity when it comes to pro audio, right?
Okay.
I mean, our thing with high-end audio is we use ribbons. Are you familiar with ribbon technology on high-end? So long story short, we use a ribbon, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's a ribbon, a piece of aluminum.
Yeah.
It's a bit, and it's very different than the traditional compression driver. Most of the companies in the plastic boxes you see out there use this conical-shaped compression driver with what's called the phase plug in it. Without getting too technical, what happens is all the frequencies come off at different physical points on the compression driver, and they cause distortion. So it's just a poor design, and this thing called the phase plug they use to correct it. But with a ribbon, it's nothing in front of it. All the frequencies come off cleanly and clearly without this plug in front of it, and the moral of the story is it sounds much better.
Okay.
Especially for mandolins, acoustic guitars, that sort of thing. If you hear what a ribbon sounds like with that instrument, you'll never go back. So, and it's kind of within the realm of what we do at Peavey. We always do something different, something better that people aren't doing.
Yeah.
And right now, as far as I know, we're the only company that has a powered speaker enclosure with a ribbon driver. They use them in high-end studios as reference monitors, but generally very expensive. But we use them in our products. So cleaner, clearer, better.
Man, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Now, I always know Peavey, and again, I'm a drummer, so bear with me. I always know of Peavey for bass gear and amplification as far as PA system. What else is out there? You mentioned Trace Elliott.
Oh gosh, when it comes to the 6505, which used to be the 5150.
5150, great amp.
That is the quintessential sound of an entire genre of music. I mean, metal was created with that amplifier. You ask Jason Sukoff and the people that actually produced those albums, if you're listening to a metal album, even if the guy doesn't play our amp on stage, chances are he recorded the album with our amp. I mean,
Interesting.
It is the sound of a whole genre of music, and if you look at the artist roster that we have that plays that amplifier, I mean, it's anybody who's anybody in that genre. I mean, there's a new tour coming out with Slayer, and many of the people that are on that tour this coming up fall, I think it is, are playing 6505s.
Wow, really? I didn't know that.
And then we've come up with a new amp, which is called the Invective, which is designed in combination with Misha Mansour from a band called Periphery, which is the evolution of the 6505. We've got that lead sound, but we've also added a clean sound, which the 6505 really couldn't do for pedals. So if you're a guy that likes a lot of pedals on the front end, it's an awesome front end pedal. It's got a mid crunch sound, a lead sound. We're very proud of our guitar amplifiers. We've got mini heads and all these lines, and that's one of our best selling products is our guitar amps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Does so the 6505 is like a 5150 on steroids, or?
Yeah, so it's funny how that worked. Obviously, when we were doing the 5150, that was a partnership with Eddie Van Halen, and he's still doing an amp like that with a friendly competitor of ours. But the 6505, there's a lot of forums out there that like to talk about the differences between the block letter 5150 and the 6505. I don't know if I want to ruin anybody's thought about what's mysterious and magical about it, but the fact is, and this is kind of a news flash right here on this show, is that there is no difference. The only difference between the original 5150 block letter logo and the 6505 we make today was the tubes that were available back then.
Yeah.
The Sylvania tubes that were used in the original one. Now, you can't get those anymore unless you're willing to pay through the nose for somebody that may have some, but essentially, that's the same amp.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people, but, other forums will probably blow up when they hear me say that. they think, oh, no, that can't be the case. There's got to be something different, but that's the fact. And, we love that amp. That's a legacy part of Peavey, and we'd never do anything to change it because that's part of our history.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Peavey's been a part of my history. The first amp I ever bought was a Peavey Backstage 110.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that amp, man?
Oh,
It was a little combo amp, man. I was in high school. I set it up in my room, and I think I played the living crud out of that amp. In fact, I was upset when my mom took it and sold it in a garage sale one day because she thought I was just getting rid of a bunch of stuff. It was a horrible time in my life. But,
wow. I would have
He's
lost
getting a
it.
little sensitive there.
I'd sell my amp, and I would probably be in the same boat. But we're still doing that, though. So the whole Viper line of amplifiers that we have, which is one of our best sellers by volume.
Oh, yeah, I got
designed
one in my
for that
house
guy.
right now.
That's right. So we're always looking. What's most important about a Peavey amp from a product development standpoint is you get a kid that can't play, right? I was that kid. Y'all were that people. At one point, none of us could play, right? And you want that person to plug into your amplifier and have what? Fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right out of the gate. You want to have, we've got violins and synthesizers built into that amp, every effect you could possibly imagine. Why? To give you the tools to be creative, yes, but also if you're just starting, I want you to have fun with the amp. I want you to make sounds and be able to create without being able to play, really. And I think that's important. That's an important design philosophy behind all our products.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
An amp that just popped into my head, and again, as a drummer, I'm just thinking of being on a stage, but was it a Session 400?
Oh, yeah.
For like a steel player?
Oh, yeah.
Man, I remember that was one of the best sounding clean amps, but pedal steel guitar players, every one of them had them.
Yeah, and in fact, we just reissued a version of that Session amp that you're talking about. Yeah, it's called the Session 115. We took the preamp that was famous in that Session amplifier. We updated some of the technology in the power amp. Still got the Black Widow 1501-8, which, by the way, that speaker is made only for that amp, and I can tell you, there are not that many pedal steel players anymore, so that's a pretty... Talk about bass players being a small market, pedal steel. Yeah, a lot of blue hairs in that crowd. I always loved seeing a kid playing pedal steel.
Oh,
That's heartwarming.
Awesome.
Yeah, because that's part of our history too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why we love Nashville.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a few minutes left, but I want to talk about the state of the music industry from the consumer side or the retail side. What's some of the things that you're seeing out there right now?
Well, from a consumer side, there's never a better time to buy MI product. I mean, there is a wealth of product. I mean, I don't want to steer people to reverb.com, but you know what? If you're getting started and you're on a budget, there are so many options for the consumer nowadays that it's incredible. When we were getting started, we didn't have nearly the options. You couldn't buy an amplifier for $150 that had 36 different effects built into it.
You're
Holy
right.
Mac, I had to go buy one pedal at a time, and I think it was an Arian effects pedal was all I could afford. If you remember those things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was great when an amp just had a distortion channel on it. That's why I love that backstage 110.
So the state of the industry for a player or somebody getting started is amazing. I mean, you just walk around here. There are so
It's
many.
a great time to be in music.
Oh, to be a musician, it's an amazing time.
Absolutely.
And one thing that we really got to figure out as an industry, and this is probably a subject for another podcast, is how we pull kids off of YouTube and get them back into playing guitar.
Well, we just we have that conversation all the time.
Now, I have a 12-year-old son, and he doesn't watch TV, but he sure as heck watches YouTube an awful lot. I mean, that's where. So YouTube influencers in the music industry are going to be a big part of how we pull that crowd back into the world of learning to play an instrument, and I think that's really, really important. My son is exposed to a lot of guitars and instruments, but he's just started actually moving away from it and starting to play guitar and a little bit of piano, and now he's kind of looking at YouTube to learn how to play or get some from his
Which
dad.
is a great tool.
Yeah, it's a great tool.
Great tool, yeah.
I think it's a great time, but we also have to be mindful of how our children are spending their time and how they interact with social media.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a big, either our business is going to grow because of it or it's going to fail because of it.
Yeah.
Well, it won't ever go away completely, but
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to bring up?
Man, I just appreciate you guys doing this. It's people like yourselves that support the industry that make all this possible.
Well, we love you guys.
You're going to help continue to grow it, so thank you for having me.
We're going to have you back because I've got
a
a pile of questions I want to ask.
Yeah, well,
but
I'm happy to
obviously
talk to you.
we got a compressed amount of time being at a show like this, but we want you in so we can sit down face to face and have a good hour conversation of the industry and stores. I want to dive into stores,
retail stores,
and your thoughts about what we should do with that.
Yeah.
Because we have so many store owners that love those topics that is craving information that I think you can give them a lot of good information.
Well, I just want everybody to know one thing about Peavey. It is just a small group of guys down in Meridian, Mississippi, trying to make a difference, and an American-owned company. And I think these days that's important. Regardless of where the pieces are assembled or what's going on, the money is coming to an American company, and a small group of guys can make a difference, and that's what we're doing. I mean, sometimes it feels like David and Goliath when we're fighting some of these, these competitors that make jet skis and motorcycles at the same time that we're making guitar amps and PA systems. But we can make a difference. We are making a difference, and we appreciate your support and all our customers out there that have been bleeding Peavey for 54 years. We appreciate you guys too.
Own a music store or sell guitars online? Need more inventory to stay competitive in today's market? MIRC is the nation's largest wholesaler of quality used guitars. Visit www.mircweb.com to become a dealer today. Thanks for listening to the Music Retail Show.